one aspect of Oscar De La Hoya's game that was never actually discussed when he was actually active, and doesn't really get mentioned too much lately, is obviously he had this great resume and he's fought all the best fighters in the world. He's fought the who's who of his division, from Pernell Whitaker to Manny Pacquiao to Bernard Hopkins to Shane Mosley to Floyd Mayweather to IK Quarte to Felix Trinidad. He's fought literally the best fighters in the world, and most of the time, obviously, his win-loss ratio with all of them fighters has not been great. He has won a few, but he's lost many of the times that he's fought against them. One aspect of his game that's very underrated is his actual chin. He's actually been in there with all of these great fighters, and some of them are great punchers. Like, if you look at Shane Mosley's a puncher. If you look at Pacquiao's a puncher. If you look at Ike Quarte, he was a puncher. Felix Trinidad was a puncher. All of these great fighters that he's been in the ring with, he's never actually been stopped by any of them in terms of taking a punch to the head. Now, the only fighter that's actually stopped him was Bernard Hopkins, and Bernard Hopkins was in a weight class above him. He was a middleweight, while Oscar De La Hoya started his career at super featherweight, and he didn't even stop him by throwing a punch to the head. He threw a punch to the solar plex, or his body, and that's what actually stopped him. But when it comes to actually taking punches to the head, I think Oscar De La Hoya's got probably one of the best chins in boxing, and it's an aspect of this game that doesn't really get mentioned much. People talk about his speed and his jab and his left hook, but they never really mention his chin. And he had one of the best chins in boxing. If you take into account that he fought all of these great fighters, and he fought a lot of these fighters toe to toe. Like, it's not like he was a Mayweather who's only dancing around. Obviously, when he fought Felix Trinidad, he did move around a lot more than he usually does. But in terms of his actual career, most of the time he's fought these fighters hands on, and he fought the likes of Ricardo Mayorga, Fernando Vargas. These were fighters that were known to have great punches. That were great punchers. Like, there were fighters that were known to stop their opponents and knock their opponents down. He took these fighters on toe to toe, and he never got stopped by any of them. Even Bernard Hopkins, who again I mentioned was a career middleweight, he stopped him with a body shot. He never stopped him with a headshot the way most fighters was. Even towards the end of his career, if you look at Pacquiao, although that fight was a technical knockout because he retired on his stool, Pacquiao never came close to actually stopping him with a punch to the head. Like, he never wobbled him. And if you look at his next fight, Pacquiao fought Hatton and actually knocked him out in the second round. So I think that there's one aspect of Oscar De La Hoya's game that nobody ever mentions, is his chin. I think he's got one of the best chins in boxing. If you take into account the level of opposition that he fought, and the fact that he never got dropped, and he never got stopped. He did get dropped. Obviously, he did get knocked down again against Ike Quarte, but he never actually got stopped by any of these opponents, and he fought the best fighters in his generation. So I think that's one aspect of his game that's underrated, is the fact that he never got stopped by any of them. Obviously, one aspect of his game that I think is a little bit overrated is the fact that although everyone mentions his great resume, nobody mentions his win-loss ratio when it comes to that particular resume. Oscar De La Hoya, most of the time when he fought these great fighters, he lost more than he won. But in terms of his chin, I mean, that's one aspect of his game that you can't take away from him. He's never been knocked out in a ring, apart from the body shot from Bernard Hopkins, which was a body shot. If you take a shot down there, it's probably likely that you are going to get stopped, because it's almost impossible to get up from that. A punch to the solar plex or floating rib, it's very hard to take a shot like that and to get up from that. But in terms of taking punches to the face and punches to the chin, he's never been stopped in his entire career. And I think that's a testament to how great his chin was, that he took shots like that, and he went in the ring against these great fighters, and he usually fought them toe to toe. Like, he usually went at them. He was not a fighter that moved around, who was like a Pernell Whitaker or Floyd Mayweather that had the best defense, that usually used to avoid shots by being elusive. He was a fighter that usually came at you. So I think that's one aspect of his game that's very underrated, was his chin. And nobody ever mentions that for whatever reason, that he's been in there with all these great fighters and never been stopped. But obviously I'm mentioning it now. So yeah, tell me what you think about this below. Do you think that was an underrated aspect of his game? And like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.